It was former Senator Eric Dirksen who popularized the comment, when they feel the heat, they will see the light. My job is to put the ideas forth for you to understand it, and you will be the heat to help Congress see the light on passing those bills. Similarly with replacing the whole tax code. Do you know we spend $430 billion a year collectively just trying to comply, as they call it, filling out the forms, on CPAs, on accountants, $430 billion. A waste of money, and more importantly, a waste of time. This tax code has been around since 1913. It has been used, and it continues to be used, to try and manipulate the American people and pick winners and losers. If we get rid of the tax code, where taxes are based on income, the decision for what people pay in taxes becomes their decision based upon what you purchase. We can do this, folks. Otherwise, I wouldn't be running for president. If we do not stimulate this economy, this nation will become a third world country. We have the ability to grow. We just don't have the policies or the leadership to grow. Now, the economy is one example. Making sure we're working on the right problem. This administration has continued to put stuff in the caboose. Healthcare reform. Yeah, I renamed it. Healthcare reform. Reform is supposed to make stuff better. Did anything get better yet? No, it didn't. Financial regulatory reform. Those of you in the financial services business or in the banking business, you know how well that's working out. There are three big problems I have with the financial regulatory reform bill. It's called the Dodd-Frank bill. Three biggest problems I have with it, which is why it needs to be repealed. Obamacare needs to be repealed. The Dodd-Frank bill needs to be repealed. Number one, because it does not provide any oversight for Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. They are the ones that led to the financial meltdown of 2008. And there's no oversight. Remember I said, work on the right problem? They didn't work on the right problem. Here are the other two things, the other two issues I have with the Dodd-Frank bill. Dodd and Frank. They were the ones that didn't do their job that got us into this financial mess. And now they write a bill but they don't provide any oversight for Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. Now, the economy obviously is one of the big issues that we all face, folks, that we have got to fix. I have some good news and some bad news. The bad news is this economy is not going to get any better in the next year and a half. That's the bad news. Because this administration has to put forth one idea that'll put fuel in that engine that I'm talking about. The good news is, when you elect me, we can fix this stuff. So there is hope, but you got to help me get there, okay? You got to help me get there. And so we are here because Iowa is a very important state. People ask me in other parts of the country, well, why is Iowa so important? I said, well, because first of all, they truly vet candidates. You all ask good, hard questions. You do your homework. That's why Iowa and New Hampshire are so important in this early phase of this. Some of these bigger places, not all, they're so big that most campaigns have these multimedia campaign strategies. No. Our strategy is real simple. Go talk to the people. Share these common sense ideas with the people. And the reason that this campaign is resonating, the reason that we are moving up in the polls is quite simply, the thing that distinguishes me from the other candidates, number one, I talk about common sense solutions. Didn't y'all understand my little economic thing that I just said? That's common sense. It's not rocket science. We don't need a room full of PhD economists to tell us what we need to do to fix this economy. And the second thing that's resonating with people across this country is the fact that I am a problem solver. That's what business people do. That's what business successful people have done to do. when I give this speech, parts of it inside the Beltway, and I say, well, I'm running for president. I do not have the name ID of some of the other candidates. I am not a bajillionaire, and I've never held public office before. Well, they generally go, well, he's not going to make it. He's never held public office before. When I say that out with real folk, I always get an applause of people say that's an advantage that you've never held public office before. Okay? And I got an amen over here, so that's saying that's an applause. I'm a Baptist preacher. I love an amen. My job is not to go to Washington, D.C. to learn how Washington, D.C. does not work. My job is to go to Washington, D.C. and be a president of the people, by the people, and for the people, not for the politicians. I'm a little bit fired up. That's because I got a good night's sleep last night. I feel good. My staff goes, what got into you? No, just let me get some rest. I got a good night's rest and came from the West Coast. And so I'm excited about being here with you and excited about being in Iowa. And we're looking forward to this. Yes, I'm going to do the debate on Thursday night. Also going to be doing the straw poll on Saturday. We'll be there. We're going to have a tent. What do you call it, Larry? We're going to have a tent, pavilion, or what?
It's called a tent.
It's called a tent. We're going to have a tent there. And we're going to have some fun. Chris is going to be there with us, and we're going to have a few other surprises for you. So if you or some of your friends and relatives, please come out to the straw poll and come out and support us. We would, love to have you do that with us. And I'll tell you one thing so we're doing that this week, and then next week we've got some more trips. We're going to replicate this in other states as well. We're going to replicate the bus tour in New Hampshire, South Carolina, Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Nevada. We're taking this bus. This bus is going to be, it's going to have my big mugshot on it from now until November 2012. This stuff is not going away because it's a great way to get around the country and meet people and this sort of thing. And then week after next, I'll tell you something that I'm doing. I'm really excited about because I've never done it before. I'm going to Israel for the first time. Really looking forward to it. I have met Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu once. This was back in 9/11, right after the 9/11-2001 tragedy. He gave a speech in Miami, and I was also speaking on the same program. He was then Prime Minister, and he was not Prime Minister for a while. Now he's Prime Minister again. I met him that one time. And let me tell you what he said during that speech that I never forgot, that still impresses me. He said that Americans, this is right after 9/11, the big bringing down the towers in New York. He said that Americans have to learn two things. Number one, that terrorism is going to be here for a long, long, long time. It's not going to go away. And number two, that terrorists have one goal: to kill all of you. They have that one goal. All you have to do is look at some of the incidents that have happened. So we cannot take that for granted, folks. We cannot take that for granted. So I'm looking forward to going to Israel. My wife is going with me. My wife for 43 years. No, she doesn't travel with me on all of these campaign stops because she's not physically capable of doing all of this stuff. So I'm not going to kill my wife just because people want to see her on the campaign trail. No, I'm not going to do that. She's been with me for 43 years, and I want to keep her around a lot longer. But she is going to Israel with me because we both have wanted to go to Israel. So we're really, really looking forward to that. One last thing on foreign policy that I often get asked, and I'm not saying this because I'm talking to you. Dan, you stand up. I just want to take one.
I just want to ask.
Larry's over here doing this. Dan is standing up, and Herman keeps talking. Well, I'm the candidate. I'm moving things around. One other thing, I often get asked this question. I want to be perfectly clear, and I've said this in front of many, many audiences, and that is, what is my stance on Israel? It's real simple. Israel is the best friend we have in that part of the world, and probably in the world. The best friend we have. Now I got got another one back in the back doing this. Okay, see the kid with the hat? He's doing this. Larry's doing this. Dan's doing this. Okay. And I have stated it this way whenever I've done an interview. Well, Mr. Cain, what do you mean by that? What I mean by that is, if you mess with Israel, you're messing with the United States of America. You're messing with the United States of America. They help us when we're in that part of the world, when nobody else will. They share our values. They share many of the things that we share. And so, yes, I'm going to strengthen that relationship and not throw Israel under the bus like the current administration. Let me say this. And you can tell I'm excited about this, folks. And despite the naysayers, and I've run out of time, so I can maybe do one question, okay? So try to make it a good one. The naysayers said that I didn't have a chance in this campaign. And when my wife finally started to talk to me again after I told her that I was thinking about running for president, it took her a while. She didn't immediately warm up to this idea. When she finally started talking to me again, she said, we were talking one morning, I'll never forget. I said, sweetheart, what's your biggest worry about me running for president? Is it my safety or what? She said, no. She says, my biggest concern and my biggest worry is that you might win. I said, well, I think that's a compliment. She said, it is. I said, why do you feel that way? She said, I've been with you for 43 years. And the last thing people ought to say to Herman Cain is he can't do something. And they've already said it. So they are in trouble. But again, let me thank you. I'm doing this, folks, not because I've always wanted to be president of the United States of America. No. I'm doing this because, like you, I care about the future of this country. Like many of you, I have grandkids. And I'll never forget the day that I looked in the face of my first grandchild. And the first thought that went through my mind was, what do I do to make this a better world and a better nation? I didn't know the answer 12 years ago, but I know the answer now. And I believe that we are all put on this earth to make a difference. With whatever time, talent, or treasure you have. Everybody's got different time, different treasure, different talents. We should all use our talents to make the world around us better. And I happen to believe that at this point in my life, that God has put me here to run for president of the United States of America. And I happen to also believe that He is going to make sure that I become the next president of the United States of America. Thank you very much for being here.